Welcome to WebStylePlus. If you don't follow best practices, a program will still work. If you don't avoid common mistakes in JavaScript, a program may still work, but it may require further attention from you down the line. So better avoid mistakes than fix later. In this video, I will highlight most common JavaScript mistakes to avoid. First one is forgetting to declare variables with let var or const. It can lead to several issues such as global namespace pollution, unintended variable shadowing, mistakenly reassignment of variables multiple times, reference error issues. It is considered necessary to always declare variables with let var or const to avoid these potential issues. I will further advise you to not use var. Use let or const for objects and arrays. Then, not using strict equality comparison or strict inequality comparison, or using equality operator instead of strict equality operator. It can lead to unexpected results and bugs in the code. This is because when using non-strict equality or inequality operators, JavaScript will try to convert the operands to the same type before comparing them. It can also lead to precision issues when comparing numbers. For example, mind the data type during comparison. Here output is true because in regular comparison data type does not matter. So even when x is a number and y is a string, result of their comparison here is true. Change equality comparison operator to strict equality comparison operator and it becomes false because in strict comparison data type does matter. In some cases, using non-strict comparison operators can lead to security vulnerabilities also. For example, if you are comparing user input with a secret value and you use a non-strict comparison operator, an attacker may be able to bypass the comparison by sending input that is different in type but equal in value. So always compare using strict equality operator or strict inequality operator. Then, not handling errors properly, either by not catching them or by not providing useful error messages. It can lead to uncaught exceptions, security issues, debugging issues, poor user experience. Simply use try-catch blocks to handle errors. Then, not understanding variable scope, especially with let and const. It can lead to variable hoisting, bugs, reference error, and accidental global variables that lead to naming conflicts and unexpected behavior. Then mixing up synchronous and asynchronous code. It will also cause unexpected behavior. Code will be hard to debug, understand, and maintain. Sometimes you will have to deal with callback hell. End result, app will be inefficient in execution. Then, not understanding how this keyword works in JavaScript. Understanding how this keyword works in JavaScript is essential for writing clear, maintainable, and predictable code. By taking the time to understand this keyword and how it works, you can avoid common mistakes and write more effective and efficient code. You will also avoid context issues and confusion with nested functions. Then, eval and with. Using eval or with functions can introduce security risks. Both eval and with can execute arbitrary code, which makes them a potential security risk if you use them with user input or untrusted data. It's possible for malicious code to be injected and executed, leading to security vulnerabilities. They also slow down the code, so don't use eval or with functions. Then, not using semicolons correctly. It can lead to syntax errors or undesired results. Either use semicolons throughout your code or don't use at all. Similarly, misplacing semicolon. Because of misspelled semicolon, this code block will execute regardless of the value of x. Then not cleaning up event listeners or intervals. It causes memory leaks. So clear listeners and intervals. Then object array. Not understanding how objects and arrays work, leading to unexpected results. Objects and arrays are used extensively in JavaScript to store and manipulate data. They are often used in performance-critical parts of JavaScript code, such as loops and data processing functions. Many JavaScript APIs and libraries rely heavily on objects and arrays. Objects and arrays can be complex and difficult to debug if you don't understand how they work. So make sure you take your time to understand objects and arrays in JavaScript. Then ignoring switch statements, strict comparison. Switch statements use strict comparison. It is a common mistake to forget that switch statements use strict comparison. So here, if we remove quotes from number, output will be correct. Then confusion between concatenation and addition. Addition, number plus number. Addition, number plus string. 15, 105. Concatenation using same symbol. Concatenation is not addition. Concatenation and addition in JavaScript can be confusing. Addition is about adding numbers. Concatenation is about adding strings. In JavaScript, both addition and concatenation use the same arithmetic operator, that is unary plus. Adding a number as a number will produce a different result from adding a number as a string. In JavaScript, when you use the plus operator with two operands of different types, the engine will attempt to convert one of the operands to match the other. In this case, number 10 was converted into a string so that two strings 10 and 5 can be concatenated. This results in this string 105 rather than the numeric value 15. Then not handling floating point values properly. All programming languages, including JavaScript, have difficulties with precise floating point values. To solve this problem, it helps to multiply and divide. Then breaking a JavaScript string. Use backslash if you must break a statement in a string. JavaScript will allow you to break a statement into two lines. But breaking a statement in the middle of a string will not work. You can use backslash to break a JavaScript string, or use backticks if you want to break string in output. So use backslash to break statement in a string, or use backticks. Then breaking a return statement incorrectly. JavaScript closes a statement automatically at the end of line. We used line breaks after let and it is working. What if we break return statement into two lines by adding a line break after return keyword? The function will return undefined in this case. This is because JavaScript ended code execution after return statement. Because return is a complete statement itself, so you cannot break return statement like this. Also, closing statements with semicolon is optional in JavaScript. You can skip semicolons at the end of statements and code will run fine. So don't break return statement unless you want to. Then, not taking care of trailing commas. Trailing commas in object and array definitions are allowed. But JSON will not allow trailing commas. So keep this in mind. Then misunderstanding null and undefined. Undefined is not null. JavaScript objects, variables, properties, and methods can be undefined. Empty JavaScript objects can have the value null. The undefined and null are used to represent the absence of a meaningful value. The undefined typically refers to a variable or property that has been declared but has not been assigned a value. If you declare a variable in JavaScript but do not assign a value to it, its value will be undefined. Similarly, if you try to access a property of an object that does not exist, the result will be undefined. On the other hand, null is a special value that represents the intentional absence of any object value. It is typically used to indicate that a variable or property has no value or is unknown. In general, undefined is used to indicate an unintentional absence of a value, while null is used to indicate an intentional absence of a value. Well, empty JavaScript objects can have the value null, so that makes it difficult to test if object is empty. You can test if an object exists by testing if the type is undefined. But you cannot test if an object is null because this will throw an error if the object is undefined. Because of this, you must test for not undefined before you can test for not null. So instead of this, use something like this. Test for not undefined before you test for not null to test if object is empty. Okay, there are other small JavaScript mistakes as well, such as not returning from a JavaScript function, loading JavaScript scripts in HTML before the DOM is loaded, reassigning const variables, poorly named variables, too large of functions, unnecessary else statements, not short-circuiting loops, not formatting code properly, and so on. Mastering JavaScript programming language can be challenging and it's natural to feel overwhelmed. However, if you avoid these common mistakes in JavaScript and follow best practices of JavaScript, it can be a fun and rewarding language to work with. Okay, I hope it helped. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.